Lika Lamawayan Swiani, Piowalia Nihashi. Thank you for being here. It's so great to have you. I'm Sherry. I'm the station manager. We already know each other a little bit. Please tell everyone who you are and where you come from.
Yeah. Stego's gonna go aga. Good to know you jets. Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Ashley Gatitinodo Jiles, but I'm also known as Lou Lou Duchesse. I'm a burlesque performer originally from the Mohawk territory of Kahnawake, Quebec in Canada. But now I have relocated to upstate New York. So I am now trying to embrace being an American, which is
well, you're still in Mohawk territory. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great. Yeah, we've traveled very far. Such an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. It's so great to have you here. Everyone, I was just showing her. Her poster is on the wall.
Right there. Right
behind her. As Ronnie reminded us, it was the first framed piece of art we had in our studio, which is great. So, questions. So you were crowned Queen of Burlesque at the Burlesque Hall of Fame Museum, and that happened in 2022.
Yes.
And you were also recently named, in January, the #1 most influential performer by the 21st Century Burlesque Magazine. So let our audience know about your burlesque career. Why?
Well, I've been doing burlesque for, I think this is my 19th year of performing. Coming up very soon, it'll be 19 years. I'm really bad with math in the early 2000s, very early 2000s. I started, I had just turned 18. And at the time I was studying health sciences at a college in Montreal called Dawson College. And I had hopes of being a forensic toxicologist. I was in labs all the time. I had no time to pursue any of my extracurriculars. So before burlesque, I was a theater kid. And in my community, we had something called the Turtle Island Theater Company, which was an all indigenous, Mohawk theater program for youth and young adults. And we even had programs for adults. It was so amazing. I did that from the age of 5 to 18. But yeah, when I went to college, no time to do that. So somebody sent me a MySpace ad.
Oh yeah,
dating myself. But they're yeah, you like sewing and you like dancing and you like theater, and this is kind of what burlesque is. And if you mess up, it's just you. So you can just do it whenever you want. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I signed up for this audition, and I had a live audition in front of, 200 people at this bar. And I won a contract with a company called Blue Light Burlesque. And that's kind of what started me off. I knew what burlesque was from theater. We had done Gypsy when I was 13 years old. And
slightly older than Gypsy.
I got to be Electra. I got to be Electra in that play. So for anyone that doesn't know, I strongly suggest YouTubing Gotta Get a Gimmick, and Electra is a stripper that she lights up with Christmas lights. It's really fun. Yeah, so knowing that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. And then I've been in love with the art form pretty instantaneously. It was an all-encompassing kind of passion, and I did that. Probably the first 6 years, I was just super focused on doing it in my community, in the neighboring cities. I didn't really travel. And then in 2014, I became a mother, and very quickly a single mother. So my priorities changed, and I was this hobby that I love, I have to either make it a career or I have to stop doing it because financially it wasn't making sense. So I really hit the pavement, and I started touring, and it was a lot of taking buses, sleeping on couches, doing 3 gigs in a night, heading back home. It was just exhausting, but it was, those are the foundations of this. So to be here at this point now where, I've kind of retired from competition circuit, which is wonderful. And to have these accolades, but most importantly, the respect of my peers in the community is so surreal. because like all of that, like chaos and, you know, lack of sleep and tears and stuff like that, it seems very, very close, like a not too distant memory. So I just feel really grateful to be here.
Yeah. You just outed some of the non-glamorous parts of a glamorous life.
Oh, it's like, for anyone wondering, burlesque is extremely non-glamorous. We only are glamorous on stage for like 5 minutes, and the rest is just
falls apart.
Yeah, it's like, it's chaos. It's chaos. It's like controlled chaos now.
Well, one of the things I've always liked about burlesque and the art of burlesque is what it does for people, which is the transformative nature of burlesque. And one thing I've noticed with some other women that I've been around is how they feel about their body being a mother, and then how that then doing burlesque after being a mother helps with the acceptance of what your body has gone through, and kind of helps pull you through some of the postpartum, if you had any of that. But like, how did that feel for you? What was it like being a mom?
Well, I often reflect on this a lot because, you know, I started in my teens, which is, it's kind of not a regular path for a lot of professional artists in this field. I feel like burlesque is something that often people will come to in their 20s and 30s. But yeah, I was a teenager and also quite shy. Like I was, you know, I liked performing. I liked being on stage, but like talking to anybody, especially if it involved flirting, was like, it was so like this impossible task to do. So I often think I was like really fortunate to find burlesque when I did, because it was a way for me to kind of play safely and kind of curate, power and sexuality and the confidence in the body that I don't think Lauren possessed at like 18 years old. But I was able to kind of put on this like this cloak of Lulu, and you know, and be this like better version of myself, like this more confident, super sexy, like vibrant version of myself that I didn't feel like. And you'll hear fake it till you make it all the time in performance art. Just fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it. And then at a certain point, it just kind of shifted where like I was very confident in my womanhood. I did feel like very, like I had agency and, you know, great, healthy relationship with my body. Then yeah, being a mom, it does kind of throw you off balance too. So I started performing. I thought, you know, maybe after I have Clara, my daughter's name is Clara Wolf, which is such a light in this world. Yeah. So like, I was like, after I have Clara, I will like, you know, maybe do a show here and there. I'll ease into it. And I started performing, I think 3 months after she was born. And it was like, I was getting booked every week. And then I started doing competitions again, and I started winning. And it was a very fast trajectory. So I didn't really have the, you know, that down period that I wanted. I remember doing a workshop with a dear friend, and one of my mentors. Her name is Michelle Amore, and she used to be based out of Chicago. And she had something called Stripper's Holiday, and it was like a burlesque boot camp. There's nothing, it was not a relaxing kind of vacation. We would we would go and wake up at 8 a.m. We'd eat, and then we would like work out and drill our numbers, and then, you know, strip everything down and build it up. And then we would go and perform at night. So it was like an intensive dance training program, which focus was burlesque. It was great. And I remember it was like maybe, I don't know, I was a few months postpartum, and she was teaching me this floor work combination, and I did it. She was, "Hey Lou, you just do it again." And I'm just like, I did it again. She's like, "You look really tired." And I looked at her and said, "I am really tired. I just had a baby. Like everything is hard." So yeah, I think it was like, it took me a while to like feel more into it, but I think that's just kind of most moms that I know, most women that I know. It's in our nature to just keep going and to just like, there's no excuse, like things have to happen. And like when something like my passion is also like how we put food on the table, I was just like, okay, well, you know, even if you're not feeling great, you got to go out there and put on a show. But one thing burlesque has taught me is that like, you know, it's such a body positive, it's such a body positive environment. Like it is truly an art form that we make. It is predominantly female. It's predominantly femme. It's also very queer. It's very, and like it's forever changing. So it's like whatever the artists that are working in this industry are bringing to it, that's what's like being injected into the field. And like it's been so nice to be surrounded by that energy. So even if you're feeling down, you have like a bunch of like colleagues that are going to bump you up and just be like, you got this, you're great. Yeah. So yeah, nice. Very lucky to have that.
It's a good group. Yeah. So one thing that people may not know about Native culture, if they're listening and aren't Native, is that it can often be quite conservative, especially around the female body. Mm-hmm. So when you clearly started performing when you were younger, and at some point you had to tell your family. Mm-hmm. So what was that like? What was that process like?
Oh, my mother is like one of my best friends. And before I had my daughter, she would go to all of my shows, which was really great. I know that's like also not the norm. Like a lot of people, and not just Indigenous folks, but a lot of people that I work with do come from more conservative backgrounds. So they like, their parents don't know or they don't support it. I was very fortunate. Both of my parents like were super cool with it. I think it made sense to my mom. I was worried to tell my grandmother because I grew up with I grew up living in my grandparents' house. And my grandmother was just like this. She was, I'm like one of 21 grandchildren, and I was like her favorite, like one of her favorite grandchildren. So like we had a very, very special bond, and I was like terrified to tell her. So I was kind of like sugarcoating it. And I remember she was like in her wheelchair, and I went to her, I was like, hey, did I have like this opportunity? I want to tell you about it. And then she's like, oh, what is it? I'm like, well, you know how you like to watch me do plays? Just like, I'm like, it's kind of like that. And she's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, but it's like more dancey. And then she's like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'm like, but it's kind of like also like I have these costume pieces and like lots of them. And like sometimes like, it's like I take them off, but like I'm telling a story with them. And I'm like, and she's, oh, are you talking about burlesque? And I'm just like, do you know what burlesque is? And then she told me, she's like, because she used to live in Buffalo, New York. And she said, I went to see Gypsy Rose Lee when I was like, she snuck into a barn to see her perform or something like that. Like a theater was attached to a barn. When she saw her perform, she was like, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old, my grandmother. So she said, I know what burlesque is. And she goes, if you're going to do it, just make sure you're like the best. Like, don't half-ass it. So once I had her sign off, I was just like, okay, well, I don't really care about anybody else's opinion. Like I had I'm very, very close to my family. Like I said, we're 21 grandchildren, like, and that's just in my immediate family. I come from like the Sky family. So like we have our annual Sky family picnic and we're like 200 people. Mm-hmm. We all know each other. We all like are like, we grew up like siblings. So like for me, I was just like, as long as I have the support of my family, I'm good. But yeah, like as I continue to grow this and then I start to travel and then I start to become more known in like outside communities, I did experience at times kind of like dissent from within, my community, and like other communities. But like, again, it's been sparing, like it's been like here and there. And I never get upset with the critiques because like I was raised to listen to somebody when they're speaking, especially if they're like elder. So, respectfully, I listen, and I understand the root of a lot of the concerns, right? I do think that there's deeper conversations to be had around why modesty is at the forefront of a lot of our like cultural practices. Is this something that is truly traditional, or is this like a learned response from something like colonialism, from having our women taken at higher rates than anywhere in the country? Like, I think those are absolutely valid reasons to have this kind of response. And I see it and I hear it and I feel it and I grew up with it. And I think, but it's on the flip side, having grown up with that, having those kind of conversations and that almost pressure put on you from the time you're a child to be like, as a woman, like, you have to cover up. You can't be around this person. Don't go out late. Be careful, and it's a lot of pressure. And I think that just in general, like non-Indigenous communities also do this to women at very high rates where they're just like, rape culture, right? Like you have to like, be careful. And it's like the onus is put on the women to do this. But within Indigenous communities, I think
it's our responsibility.
But I think, also being a mom too, especially within the past few years, I'm hopeful. I'm so hopeful because we're having deeper conversations about consent, about body. Growing up in a small community, you would hear stories or things would happen to you and things were not as nuanced. Like, like it was either, like a very, and I'm sorry if this is triggering for anyone, but it was like either like an SA, like an assault or a bad time, or you should have watched out or like, like that kind of stuff, or you should have known
what
better.
Did you do?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, but now I think I'm looking at younger generations and like, they have language and they have, they're talking about sexuality very openly and their bodies and boundaries and consent. And it's so inspiring. And to see that come into our communities, and to decolonize sexuality and to have kind of more open conversations. Because like at the end of the day, burlesque is, yes, it is a striptease, it is sexual in its very nature, but it is also really political. It is super empowering. There's nothing passive about the performance that I do, and a lot of the performance that I see. So yeah, I think it's such a great way to like, one, like honor your body, get in, like really be in it, and also like to incorporate some more like kind of traditional, like if we're talking about traditional values, right? Like dance as medicine, dance as a healing property, like, this kind of stuff, like the trauma that we hold in our body from like not just our experiences, but the experiences of our parents, of our grandparents, like it's so much, especially in Indigenous communities. So I'm just like dance, and not just burlesque, any type of dance I think is medicinal.
I 100% agree. Thank you. That was awesome. And on traditional stuff, you are also a traditional artist. You do a ton of beadwork when you get in your free time.
In my free time, yeah, I do. I have to get back on it. I'm like, if anyone is watching this, I have nails right now that are
harder to do.
Actually, it's good for leather work with my leather needles, but yeah, I really enjoy making regalia. I love doing beadwork. I love sewing. My aunt is a seamstress and she taught me to sew when I was 5. Yeah. So for anyone at home, I've been sewing for over 30 years. It's been really, I think the best skill that I've ever acquired is sewing.
Yeah. So what is like your least favorite thing to do when beading or doing leather work?
Probably like, I like the beading part. I don't like assembling moccasins.
Yeah.
I don't like assembling, like when you're like stitching the mock, like the vamp to the mock. I do not enjoy that at all. It's not meditative. I break needles all the time. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. And then it's such a skill, but I'm like, I will bead until the cows come home. Like I have pieces that took me months to bead. Like I danced fancy shawl for a few years and I beaded a yoke for myself. And the yoke is like, I don't know, like maybe 6 or 7 inches down and around. That was like, it was like, I think that took 4 months to do. I beaded like boots. I love doing that kind of stuff. And I like beading for other people too. If anyone wants to see beadwork that I do, it's on Instagram, Sky Woman Creations. It's my beading page, but I need to get back into it.
Do you usually do seed beads? Do you like quill work?
Oh, I do like those tiny, like the tiny, what do you call those? I can't say the name.
So they're the ones that I break with a needle.
They're like,
I don't have a lot of
patience. Yeah, I will use those ones. I did my entire yoke. I edge stitched it in like the tiniest beads, and then I like filled it with like bigger cut beads, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But like, no, I like the smaller ones because they're like square cut, and then like they fit in so perfectly. You can make really cool designs with that. Yeah, now you're making me want to go bead shopping, which I promised myself I wouldn't do. I have to get through my existing bead collection before I
think beads are like rhinestones. I
have too many hobbies. I have too many
homes.
Yeah, I'm like, I have beads, I have fabric, I have rhinestones, I have feathers. Yeah, we bought a house in upstate New York, and now I have like space. I have a room for my projects, and it's already full, so I'm not allowed to buy anything new.
That's fair. Yeah. As someone who tried to clean out material not too long ago, I just created more piles and mostly repackaged. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Do you do beadwork?
I don't have the patience. I sew though.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's like, it is like definitely something hopefully there's not another pandemic. But if you ever have like another, like even a few days off, like just lazy stitch is like very easy and fun.
Well, and that was my next question about it. What is something that you want to learn about beadwork or traditional?
I'd like to learn how to peyote stitch.
Okay.
And I know.
Quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I would like to learn how to do. Because we do like raised beadwork. Yeah. Raised beadwork is fun and easy. Everyone has their own style. It's great. And yeah, lazy stitch is that's easy. That's really, really easy. It's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so peyote stitch. All right. So one thing that, just digging around about you, I discovered that you've done some horror movies. And with the rise of Natives and Indigenous people in film, have you thought about doing other?
Okay, so I was in a music video for my dear friend's vision video. They had they asked me to do to be the video vixen, but it was like a horror movie. We had Fangoria, I believe, sponsored the video. So we had like legit producer, like it was a big production. It was really, really fun. And we shot it over the course of 2 days in Georgia. And it was great. Like basically the premise was like, the band is driving in their hearse and they're driving through the woods and they hit a witch. That was me. So I got to do like full Aggie prosthetic makeup.
That's awesome.
And then I get hit by this car and then they take off. Then I find them at the venue and I go and I curse them. But like I turn everybody in the venue into zombies. And then it's really gory. Like they're like killing all the zombies with their instruments. And then I'm controlling. So it was really, really fun. And then I transformed into like this burlesque witch and we're dancing. Had the time of my life. If I could do that full time, I absolutely would. That is actually bucket list goal. If I could be a scream queen in a movie, please. I don't even have to survive to the end. I would be the first kill. Just that is truly something I want to do. I would love to do it.
All right. So directors out there
available.
Scream queen.
Imagine just the possibilities. I'd be so happy to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for telling us about it.
Thank you for plugging it. Manifesting this for 2025.
What is the band? Do you remember what's the band's name?
Oh, the band's name. Vision Video.
Vision Video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're from Athens, Georgia. They're a goth band. Dear friends of mine. They are absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Some of the most fun things you can ever do are make zombie movies, I feel.
It was so cool. Well, we had people that worked, I didn't know this at the time. I was in Norway doing a show and I flew in from Norway to go and film this music video. So it was like, I was really out of sorts with time and I showed up and when I got to their place, they're like, we're going to start shooting in an hour in the woods. And I was like, okay. So I got into these prosthetics and we just did the shoot in the woods. The next day, it was a bunch of zombie actors. And I didn't know that this was like a thing that you could do. They filmed The Walking Dead in Athens, Georgia. So, and it was during the writer's strike. So all these actors were like free to work. So they did this music video shoot. It was so cool. And they were really good. Like just their body movements. It's like very dancery. And then the makeup artist, the special effects artist worked on The Walking Dead, but they also worked on, the new Exorcist movie. So like when I tell you the effects they were like so cool. So cool. I had a squib, like a blood squib in my hair. So after I got hit by the car, there's like a close up zooming in on my face and it just starts bleeding. It was time of my life. 10 on 10 would do it again. I would, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So we somehow have to get you into movies.
Yes. Yeah. There's actually lots of very accomplished actors from my community. Shout out to Deborah Jacobs. Love you. Theo Horn, love you. Yeah. There's lots of strong, amazing actresses from my community.
That's great. Yeah. Love Deborah Jacobs. I loved her interview with the Emmys or Grammys or something. She was hilarious.
Yeah. No, I've known Deborah since she was like, I don't know. I think I met Deborah when she was 5.
Yeah. She was like, whatever interview. Where's the snack table?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great thing about coming from like a small community like Kahnawake. It's like to see people in your generation like just doing really, really cool things. Like we have playwrights, we have like comic book writers, authors, like dancers, like Barbara Dibo is like such an accomplished like contemporary dance artist. Like it's so fantastic. Like it's such a small town, and like we grew up, like we know everybody in town. So to see people just like traveling and doing things and like just really, I'm so proud all the time. I'm so proud of my hometown. Love it.
Well, that's a very good lead into my next question, was you used to be part of a contemporary or modern dance.
Yes.
That was Indigenous. Are you still doing that?
So I do it whenever the stars align. I actually got called in to do some consultation because they're putting together a new piece. Mm-hmm. So it might have a little bit of like a burlesque element to it. So I'm going to go and consult. And so for anyone listening, it is the Anawarda Dance Theater Company. And that is run by Barbara Guataruni Daibo, who is a Mohawk contemporary dancer from Kahnawake. She's amazing. I love her so much. She's a dear friend, and also has been so helpful. And she had asked me during the pandemic to join the company. And I was like, no. She was just like, I want you to join the company. And I was like, I am not a trained, I've been doing burlesque for 2 decades almost, but I'm like, my background is in theater. It's not in dance. And I'm like, I am now in my 30s. And like, I am, somebody's mom. I can't be, and she's like, well, I think you can do it. I've seen you move. And like, I also we have the budget to train you. So like, we'd like you to come in. So I said, okay, why not? And then I trained 5 days a week. It was like a full-time job. I got to work with some amazing, amazing, giving, wonderful dancers. It was so humbling. It was so amazing. And then I danced with them for over a year. We did, it's a dance piece about the Quebec Bridge disaster. So that has been it's such a powerful piece, and to be involved in that, it was really, really special, because that disaster really shook our community to its core. We lost a lot of iron workers on that bridge.
So for people outside of Quebec, what was that?
The Quebec Bridge disaster.
Especially people.
Okay. I have this
States, because we don't really pay attention to Canadian
let
news.
I'm just Googling dates here because I want to make sure that I'm not, I get so scared about, okay. I believe it was in 1907. Okay. All right. We're going to go with 1907. Yeah, so the Quebec Bridge disaster. So Quebec is a province. It's like a state. Yes, okay. So in Quebec City, they were building this bridge. It was supposed to be one of the great wonders of the world. Mm-hmm. It was the biggest C-span bridge ever to exist at the time. And early on, there were some questions about the structure of it. The designer was like, no, it's fine. Just keep going. So also for anyone that doesn't know, Iroquois people, specifically Mohawk people, are known for ironwork. This is it's been such a big industry in our community, especially in Kahnawake. So my grandfather was an ironworker. His father was an ironworker. It's a generational thing. And it's still to this day a really, really big industry in our community. So at the time, we would have all of these men go out and work, and it collapsed and it killed over 100. And I'm going to just see the exact number. There was over 100 people that passed away from this disaster. And the majority of them were from Kahnawake. So we lost and the aftermath was really, really devastating because at the time, you had people that were that lost sons, that lost brothers, that lost fathers. There was a whole family that of sons and all the men just gone. And then this led to one of the things that I didn't realize until I started dancing in this piece with Barbara. We do this whole dance about industrial schools. So the church kind of used this as an excuse, this disaster, to kind of convince women to let their children go to these schools, and a lot of them never saw their children again. So it's just such a tragedy. and to dance in this piece, like I'm getting chills talking about it. Yeah, to dance in this piece, it was very special. One, because I'm like, I get to work with people from my community too. It's about our community, but like also like the dance technique and style that's incorporated. Like we do power dancing, a lot of smoke dancing is like really used a lot. It was very stressful because I had to open the show at every show we did, because I was the only dancer outside of Barbara who was from Kahnawake. So she was like, you have to open with a smoke dance. It's just like, no. For anyone that doesn't know, smoke dancing is really, really hard and it's very, very fast. And yeah, so yeah, but we incorporate that. There was parkour and then contemporary. We did a women's dance where we danced in water, like pools of water. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
So beautiful. Yeah, so
amazing. Thank you for telling us the history of that as well.
And I apologize if I didn't get everything exactly right, but that's like the Reader's Digest version, as my grandmother would say.
It was great.
Thank you.
So hopefully sometime maybe they could travel down here to the lower parts of Turtle Island.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to see Barbara probably next week, so I'm going to tell her.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep looking into the camera like, Facebook.
All your dance studios out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So on that, what are you up to? What are you doing next? What are you doing now?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I was just saying before this interview, I'm so lucky to be here. I normally am in and out of, cities. I will come in on a Thursday, leave on a Sunday, and perform. I was in Seattle last month for like 2 days and then was back home. So I've been here for a week. It's been wonderful. I did 2 shows here. I did one in Port Angeles, then one here, taught some classes, and now I am on my way to Portland tomorrow. If anyone is free this weekend, I will be performing at the Metal-esque Festival, which is an all-metal burlesque festival in Portland. I am so excited. I'll be teaching there as well.
But now I actually have to interrupt you and ask, what's your favorite metal band?
Favorite metal band? Oh my goodness. Well, I have a favorite band, and I guess a favorite metal band would be different. All right. So my favorite metal band? Give me a second.
Okay. Important.
This is hard, okay? No. I guess Nevermore. I really like Nevermore growing up. That's great. They're like a little softer. I like a melodic metal band. My favorite band of all time is the Deftones. I love the Deftones.
Oh my gosh, I love the Deftones.
I'm going to see them in Detroit.
It's
so good. Yeah, I'm really excited to go and see them. Now, you know what? You're going to ask this question. I gave an answer, and then I'm going to be like walking to my car later. And I'm like, I should have said this. I
also like this band and this band.
I like this band. I can't think right now. Follow me on Instagram, and then I'll just be posting all my favorite bands there.
That works.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what else are you doing?
So this month, I'm like just kind of focusing like month to month. I'm doing I'll be back in Canada, which will be nice. I'm going to do a show in Kingston on the 18th. That is a Halloween themed show. And then I'm going to be in LA on the 26th. So back on the West Coast, I'll be doing a ghost themed show on the 26th with Vida Devoid, which is great. And then I will be doing a wrestling burlesque show at the Mayan Theater on the 30th and 31st called Lucha Vavoom. It's like a historic
Yeah, so for those of you who have never been to La Lucha Vavoom, oh my gosh, I can't say it. Lucha Vavoom. It is amazing, and you should go.
It's so much fun. It's like one of my favorite shows to do, and I'm so lucky that they have asked me to do it again. So I'm going to be bringing, and I get to perform with my husband, which I never get to do. My husband is a wrestler, so he's going to be wrestling, and I'm going to be, whirling pasties. So you decide which is harder.
Yeah. Should put pasties on the wrestlers.
Maybe I will. So it's $1 million idea right there.
Yeah, it could go well.
I won't do the opposite. I won't wrestle. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great having you here.
Yeah, well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mom.
Bye.